Your body has no idea what a calorie is. It doesn't speak diet plan language. It speaks chemistry. And right now, whether you ate a salad or a gas station burrito, the same chaotic, beautiful process is happening inside you. So let's actually talk about what that process is. No filler, no supplements add halfway through. Just the real mechanics of how your body turns food into a functioning human being. Let's start where the food does. Your mouth. Most people treat chewing like a formality. Get it wet, swallow, move on. But your mouth is doing real work. Teeth break food into smaller surface area. Saliva floods and carrying enzymes that immediately start dismantling carbohydrates before the food even leaves your tongue. Skip the chewing, and you're basically handing your digestive system a problem it wasn't built to solve. The food drops into your stomach, which is running a completely different operation. Think of it as a sealed pressure chamber full of acid, strong enough to dissolve metal. Proteins get unfolded and broken apart. Any bacteria that hitchhiked in on your food gets wiped out. Everything gets reduced to a thick liquid that your body can actually work with. This stage isn't glamorous, it's destruction. Controlled, necessary destruction. From there, it moves into the small intestine, which is where the real magic is. The pancreas sends in digestive enzymes that slice carbs, proteins, and fats into their smallest possible pieces. And the walls of the small intestine are lined with these tiny finger-like projections that massively increase how much surface area is available to absorb things. Think about how a sponge with texture soaks up more than a flat piece of plastic. Same idea. Nutrients pass through those walls and head straight to the liver. The liver is not optional. Everything absorbed from your food shows up there first. The liver checks it, sorts it, decides what gets used immediately, what gets stored, what gets converted, and what needs to be neutralized. Nothing bypasses it. Which is why the phrase, "you are what you eat," is only half the story. The full version is, you are what your liver decides to do with what you eat. Now let's talk about what's actually in the food. 3 categories run everything: carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. These are the big ones: the fuels, the structural materials, the molecular workforce. Carbohydrates are your body's first choice for energy. Every single carb you eat, whether it's a piece of fruit or a bowl of white rice or candy bar, gets broken down into the same thing: glucose. The molecule is the molecule, but what changes is how fast it gets there. Simple carbs, the sugary stuff, the white bread, the processed anything, they arrive as glucose almost immediately. Blood sugar spikes hard, insulin floods in, you feel great for 20 minutes, and then you're searching the kitchen for something else to eat. Complex carbs take longer to break down. The glucose trickles in steadily, energy stays level, hunger stays quiet longer, and fiber, which technically is a carbohydrate, doesn't get absorbed at all. And your body can't break it down, so it moves through and feeds the bacteria living in your gut instead. That's not a waste. That's one of the most valuable things you can eat. Fats got destroyed by the low-fat craze of the 80s and 90s, and they deserve a full apology. Your brain runs on fat. Your hormones are built from fat. Every single cell membrane in your body is a fat-based structure. The type of fat matters enormously, though. Saturated fats, the ones solid at room temperature, butter, coconut oil, animal fat, are chemically stable. They handle heat without breaking down into harmful compounds. Fine in reasonable amounts. Monounsaturated fats, olive oil being the classic example, are liquid, stable, and consistently associated with cardiovascular health and research. Then there are polyunsaturated fats, omega-3s and omega-6s. These are structurally fragile. Heat damages them. Heavy processing damages them. This is why cheap seed oils cooked at high temperatures are a topic of debate. Your body genuinely needs both omega-3 and omega-6, but the ratio between them matters more than the total amount. Modern diets tend to be dramatically overloaded on omega-6 and starved of omega-3. The one fat with no gray area is artificial trans fat, industrially produced, structurally unnatural. Your body handles it poorly, and the evidence against it is comprehensive. Avoid it completely. Protein is the material your body builds itself out of. Muscles, enzymes, hormones, immune cells, the structure of your organs, all protein. And unlike carbs and fats, your body maintains no meaningful protein reserve. Run short on protein and your body starts pulling it from somewhere else, usually muscle tissue, hair, nails, the places it can afford to sacrifice to keep your heart running. Protein is made of amino acids. There are 20 of them. 11 your body can manufacture on its own. 9 it cannot. Those 9 have to come from food. And here's the critical detail. If even one of those 9 is missing, protein synthesis stops. Like a factory that's out of one specific bolt and can't assemble anything. Animal proteins naturally contain all 9 essential amino acids in the ratios your body prefers. Plant proteins are a patchwork. Not impossible to get right, but you have to be intentional about combining sources. Legumes and grains together, for example, cover what each one is missing. For anyone chasing muscle specifically, one amino acid in particular acts as the trigger. leucine. Without enough leucine in a single sitting, the signal to build muscle simply doesn't fire. This is why the total protein across a day matters less than whether individual meals are actually large enough to flip that switch. Now the micronutrients, vitamins and minerals. These don't provide energy themselves, they make energy possible. They are the tools the mitochondria use to convert everything you ate into ATP, which is the actual fuel your cells run on. Vitamins split into two groups based on one simple characteristic: how your body stores them. Fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, get tucked into body fat and the liver and can stay there for months. The upside is your body can draw on those reserves. The downside is they can accumulate to problematic levels if you massively oversupplement. Water-soluble vitamins, the B complex and vitamin C, get used or flushed out quickly. There's no long-term storage. Run low on these and the effects show up fast. Minerals are structural. Calcium and phosphorus are the literal material your bones are made from. Magnesium runs over 300 enzyme reactions, and most people are chronically low in it without knowing. Sodium and potassium form the electrical system that keeps every nerve firing and every muscle contracting. Iron carries oxygen through your blood. Iodine keeps your thyroid, and through it, your metabolism functioning. Zinc is involved in wound healing, immune defense, hormone production, and dozens of other processes. Small amounts, massive consequences if they're missing. Everything you've eaten ends up being processed by your gut, and the gut is not a passive tube. It contains more neurons than your spinal cord. It produces hormones. It communicates directly with your brain in both directions. And living inside it are trillions of microorganisms that collectively function like an organ. Feed them well, and they produce compounds that reduce inflammation, protect the gut lining, and support your immune system. Starve them or constantly irritate them with processed food and stress, and that protective lining breaks down. Pathogens and inflammatory particles leak through into the bloodstream. The immune system responds. Chronic inflammation follows. And chronic inflammation sits at the root of a staggering number of diseases. The gut is where diet quality becomes a long-term health issue. Not just weight, not just energy, actual systemic inflammation that compounds over years. Your hormones are the final layer. Insulin controls whether you're storing or burning. Every meal you eat raises insulin. When insulin is elevated, your body is in storage mode. When insulin drops between meals, your body can shift into maintenance mode, cleaning out damaged cells through a process called autophagy. If you eat constantly, insulin never drops, and that cleaning process never runs. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is the other one to understand. It's not inherently bad. In short bursts, it's useful. But chronic elevation from ongoing stress breaks down muscle tissue to release glucose into the blood for an emergency that isn't actually happening. You lose muscle, the glucose goes unused, it gets stored as fat. So here's what to actually do with all of this. First, remove the industrial stuff. Any food that required a factory and a team of flavor. Scientists to make enjoyable is working against your biology. Real food doesn't need an ingredients list. An egg is an egg. A piece of salmon is a piece of salmon. A potato is a potato. Start there. Second, build every meal around protein. Not because carbs and fats don't matter, but because protein controls hunger better than anything else, protects muscle, and requires the most energy to digest. Get that foundation locked in before you optimize anything else. Third, adjust your carbs and fats based on your actual activity level. Training hard? You need carbohydrates, desk job, minimal movement. Lean toward fats for stable energy. This is all the diet debate really is. Different energy configurations for different lives. None of them are magic. They all work when they fit the person. Fourth, and only fourth, think about supplements. After the food is right, after the basics are covered, then get blood work, find out what you're actually low in, and fill that gap with something reputable. A multivitamin on top of a bad diet does nothing meaningful. Biology doesn't work that way. That's the whole system. Digestion, fuel, micronutrients, gut, hormones, and a 4-step hierarchy to actually apply it. If any of this clicked, let the algorithm know. And drop in the comments which topic you want pulled apart next.